they did to my people.
Yeah, here we are watching the disintegration of the President of the United States, who is defending himself
and they left home
at a press conference with the leader of Finland. It's truly remarkable thing to see.
And bushy-tailed. They wanted to do a great job for the people. They wanted to do a great job. We won the election.
He's calling everybody a liar. He's denigrating them. He's calling them traitors. He's not letting the people and the Constitution do what it was set up to do, in the checks and balance.
She hands out subpoenas like they're cookies. You want a subpoena? Here you go, take them, like they're cookies. Paul Ryan would never give anybody a subpoena. He wouldn't give them when Mark Meadows went in to talk. He wouldn't give them when Jim Jordan went in, when Devin Nunes. He would go in and they'd see Paul. I'm not saying wrong or right, but Paul Ryan, no, let's talk about it. That's a big thing to give a subpoena. Let's talk about it. 2 weeks later, they're still talking. They wanted subpoenas to investigate the corrupt Democrats and the corrupt people on the other side. Paul Ryan would not give subpoenas. Nancy Pelosi, here you go, take it. Who wants a subpoena? Every day you get subpoenas. And Paul Ryan was actually right, probably, because they should never, ever allow a thing like this to happen to our country again. Thank you very much, please.
Mr. President, can you just make clear right here, what do you or what did you want President Zelensky to do with regard to Joe and Hunter Biden?
If you look at what he said, okay, and he brought it up. I think he brought up the name Rudy Giuliani. What I want is the following, and I've said this loud and clear. We have our ambassadors here. We have Mike Pence here. Why are we the only ones that give the big money to the Ukraine? We give money to Ukraine, and it's bothered me from day one, and you have plenty of people just here. I say, how come it's always the United States that gets ripped? Frankly, Ukraine, we want to help them. And I do like the new president. You know why I like him? Because he was honest. Because he said there was no pressure at all exerted on me, meaning him, by the President of the United States. He said it. By the way, that one sentence should stop this. But he said there was no pressure exerted. But you don't have to ask him. All you have to do is read the transcript, read the telephone call. But what I was having a problem with are two things. Number one, Ukraine is known before him for tremendous corruption. Tremendous. More than just about any country in the world. In fact, they're rated one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And I don't like giving money to a country that's that corrupt. Number two, excuse me, number two, I said the following, and I said this loud and clear to everybody. And in fact, Rob Portman backed me up, and there's nobody more honorable than Rob Portman of Ohio. Because he called up, please let the money go. I said, Rob, I hate being the country that's always giving money. When Ukraine helps Europe and the European countries far more than they help us. They're like a wall between Russia and Europe. They're like a wall. They're a big, wide, beautiful wall. And he said, you know what, but it's important. And in fact, he came out and he said that. That was my only reason. Because I don't like being the sucker country. We were the sucker country for years and years. We're not the sucker country anymore. But I gave the money because Rob Portman and others called me and asked. But I don't like to be the sucker. And European countries are helped.
Oh, look, it's high noon. President of the United States is disintegrating and abdicating his role in the public in front of the leader of Finland. Absolutely amazing. He's firing everybody. Everybody gets fired but Rush Limbaugh and Hannity.
His son walks out with millions of dollars. The kid knows nothing. You know it, and so do we. Go ahead, ask a question.
His son.
The question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it was just a follow-up of what I just asked you, sir.
Listen, you ready? We have the President of Finland. Ask him a question.
I have one for him. I just wanted to follow up on the one that I asked you, which
Did
was,
you hear
what
me?
did you want?
Did you hear me?
Yes,
ask him a question.
I will. But
I'm giving you a long answer. Ask this gentleman a question. Don't be rude.
No, sir, I don't want to be rude. I just wanted you to have a chance to answer the question that I asked you.
Answered everything. It's a whole hoax. And you know who's playing into the hoax? People like you and the fake news media that we have in this country. And I say in many cases, the corrupt media, because you're corrupt. Much of the media in this country is not just fake, it's corrupt. And you have some very fine people, too. Great journalists, great reporters. But to a large extent, it's
Condemn the
corrupt and
press.
it's fake.
I mean, this is a dictator right here.
President of Finland a question, please.
Okay, I'll move on now.
This is another
Mr.
Hitler right
President,
here.
In your opening remarks, you said to President Trump that
Wants
you
to
would go
shoot
to some museums
people
today,
at the border,
and
make
that you respected
alligator
US
pits,
democracy and encouraged him to
spikes on
continue.
the wall. I
Are
mean,
you
this is
concerned
a
that that's
fucking
not happening?
Nazi.
And my second question to you, sir, is the WTO ruled today in favor of the United States, saying that the United States can now impose tariffs on European goods because of illegal subsidies against Airbus.
It was a big win for the United States, right?
It wasn't.
You never
illegal for
had
the United
wins
States.
with other presidents, did you? But we're having a lot of wins at the WTO.
This
There's
was
the
a case that
USS
started,
Constitution
I think,
that my
10 or 15 years
grandfather
ago.
captained.
Excuse me. Your wins are now because they think
And
I don't
there's
like the WTO and they want to make sure I'm
A
happy. Because
dictator
all of those
Nazi
countries were ripping off
blunderbuss,
the United States for many years.
firing the
They
State
know that
Department,
I'm
firing
wise
the
to it. We've had a
Department of
lot of wins.
Justice,
This was a
firing
$7
Congress,
billion
anybody who
win, not
opposes
bad.
him.
But I think the question is for
So the
me.
question, sir, is
They
if
calls
you're
us the
concerned
sucker
that the
nation
president
for
will
backing our
impose those
allies.
tariffs and the effect that
This
that
is
may have on the economy.
their biggest
Yes, first of all,
asshole
when I return to your
leader
democracy,
the free world
I
has
just
seen.
want to tell that I'm impressed.
We've seen him in
what,
Nazi Germany,
American people have
and when Russia came in and
gained during these
took over
decades,
European
hundreds
states,
of
but the
years.
free nation has
Leading up,
never seen a dictator
impressive
asshole like this guy.
democracy. So,
How dare he attack the press?
to
Called them corrupt.
WTO,
A
I
treasonous.
have a lot of respect to multilateralism and to
And what's he
international
protecting?
institutions.
He's destroying it.
So,
Everything that's worth
WTO
protecting in this
has
country.
given now a decision which is
And he comes and says, I'm the big
quite
protector.
tough with Europe.
Bullshit.
But I just say that the WTO has said its opinion, and that's that.
And I just want to finish by saying it's an honor to be with the President of Finland. He's done a fantastic job, very popular, beloved over in Finland. The WTO has been much better to us since I've been president because they understand they can't get away with what they've been getting away with for so many years, which is ripping off the United States. And please remember the President's last remarks, that we are a great democracy. We are the United States is a great democracy. And I'm airing what I'm airing because we are in fact a democracy. And if the press were straight and honest and forthright and tough, we would be a far greater nation. We would be a far greater where we don't have the CNNs of the world who are corrupt
Oh,
people.
my
Thank
God.
you very much, everybody.
Yep.
He abdicated the throne. You're out of here. Dictator. Liar.
President Donald Trump lying to the American people and the world at a pace perhaps we haven't seen before. Just in the course of the 5 minutes since I've been sitting in this chair, the president uttered several lies, including the fact that the United States has provided more to Ukraine than European countries. The Ukraine is the most corrupt nation in the world. There have been no presidential victories on trade prior to his arrival, and he was corrected by Jeff Mason, reminding him that a current WTO ruling that was issued today is actually the subject
United States does not have a president.
Of effort by the United States.
There's nobody in the wheelhouse but a loudmouth, egotistical liar.
In the East Room of the White House, where this just ended, Kristen, even by the standard of contentious exchanges with reporters, this one was high up on the list.
This was high up on the list. The president clearly defiant and even angry at the end when he was asked a very direct question by my colleague, Jeff Mason. What specifically did he want the president of Ukraine, President Zelensky, to do in regards to the Bidens, the former vice president, and his son, Hunter Biden? The president wouldn't give him a direct answer, instead choosing to lash out at the broader impeachment inquiry. This is the tactic that we have seen by this president, and you really saw it play out throughout the entirety of this press conference, taking every chance to attack Adam Schiff, who he has dubbed, quote, Shifty Schiff, and taking every chance to take aim at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. He was asked at the top if he would comply with the document requests for example, Ali, and he never answered that question directly. We never heard a yes from President Trump. What we do know is
This
that
is truly
Press Secretary
a
Stephanie
historic
Grisham,
moment.
moments after we learned about
Probably the
that
most
potential
important
subpoena for documents,
in
instead of saying they would cooperate,
240
chose
years
to
that our
cast what's
democracy
happening
was
on Capitol
founded.
Hill as a
This man has
kangaroo
attacked
court. So
democracy.
we saw more of that
He's
anger and
basically
defiance
telling
from President Trump
Europe to
as
lay
he
down
tries
their
to
arms
argue
and
that the
surrender
phone
to
call was,
Putin,
quote,
that
unquote,
he's the
perfect.
Putin
And yet, of course,
spokesman.
everyone
He's
has seen the
the
contents of the
enforcer for
call and
Putin.
can
He'll make
decide for
sure
themselves. But I
Putin
think what we
does
saw
the
here,
right
Ali,
thing by
underscores
Europe.
the fact
Surrender,
that
lay
this
down
is
your
something that
arms.
is getting under
And
President
that
Trump's skin,
the
to say the least.
Christian right,
He has taken over
the
the
armed
communications
right
here at the White House
militias,
to deal with this.
you know,
And some of his outside
tell
allies
people
have a
that
lot
we're
of
trying to
concerns
take
that
away your
there's not
guns.
a broader
This
strategy,
president
and I
has
think we
just
saw that
asked
on display here just moments
America
ago.
to surrender to
There's
Putin.
the arguments with Adam Schiff
And
the president
he
has. But there's
and
another
Putin will
aspect
take
to this,
care
and
of
that is
Europe.
the White House has
This is
stonewalled,
exactly what he's saying.
previous subpoenas from Capitol Hill. We're now on our third round of subpoenas, three different sets of subpoenas in the last week having to do with the Ukraine phone call.
Don't surrender your country, your democracy, your arms. You have a right to try this man in an impeachment. You have a right to try him for treason if that's what he's guilty of.
Well, if past is precedent, I think you can expect to see the White House try to block documents and testimony. That is what we have seen from them in the past, and they're not giving any signs that they're going to change course. I've been asking the White House all morning long if they're going to cooperate with these.
Give up your arms, surrender,
and I have not
says the
gotten one
dictator of the
person
United
here to say
States.
yes. Instead,
Surrender to me and Putin. We'll take care of you. We'll save you money. You won't have to give to the NATO or Europe. Yeah, you can save a lot of money. Me and Putin will take care of it.
With these requests, the president saying, "Look, we'll work with them," but never.
He's
say,
in the
yes,
pocket
we're
of
gonna hand
Putin. It's
over
obvious.
those documents. So this is
The
an
gangster,
intensifying standoff.
mafia, New York.
And think about what we heard from the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who has accused House Democrats of bullying his current and former staffers to try to get them to testify. He is certainly signaling he has no plans to cooperate. Ali.
Kristen Welker, thank you, Kristen, for us. And in the East Room of the White House, where the president has now for the second time today appeared before reporters. The do-nothing Democrats should be focused on building up our country, not wasting everyone's time and energy on BS. However, that's the words I'm using. The president wasn't that nice in the tweet he sent out today about the House impeachment inquiry into his July phone call with Ukraine's leader. He used a different word instead of my acronym BS. The tweet was one of many that President Trump sent today in which he continued to defend the call and to blast House Democrats. The president kept up his attacks during that news conference with Finland's president that just ended.
To impeach a
The
president
10 minutes
over a fraud that
that
was
shook the
committed
world
by other
and
people
destroyed
that
the
wanna
United
win an
States of
election in
America.
2020, which they won't, is incredible. This is the greatest hoax.
High noon,
Now, it's gone on for a
10
long
minutes,
time.
this man
We had the
destroyed us.
Mueller collusion delusion, okay? That went on for years.
The president's comments came hours after the chairs of the House Oversight, Intelligence, and Foreign Affairs Committees said they plan to subpoena the White House for documents related to the Ukraine call. The chairman wrote in a memo, quote, "The White House's flagrant disregard of multiple voluntary requests for documents, combined with stark and urgent warnings from the Inspector General about the gravity of these allegations, have left us with no choice but to issue this subpoena." It also follows confirmation from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo that he did, in fact, listen in on the president's phone call with Ukraine's president after denying that he had done so. He also used a news conference in Rome to address why he is pushing back against congressional requests to interview current and former State Department officials.
What we objected to was the demands that were put that are deeply violate fundamental principles of separation of powers. We will, of course, do our constitutional duty to cooperate with this co-equal branch. But we are going to do so in a way that is consistent with the fundamental values of the American system. And we won't tolerate folks on Capitol Hill bullying, intimidating State Department employees.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House
We just heard the intimidator, bullier in chief.
During a news conference this morning,
He bullied everybody.
for the president
But
and
Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity,
Let's not make any mistake here. The president wants to make this all about the whistleblower and suggest people that come forward with evidence of his wrongdoing are somehow treasonous and should be treated as traitors and spies. This is a blatant effort to intimidate witnesses. It's an incitement to violence.
One thing the president brought up during his news conference is a report from the New York Times that the House
lay down your arms, surrender to me and Putin.
Concerns about the president days before the complaint.
Hail Zardos!
The Intelligence Committee is now responding to that report. NBC's Jeff Bennett joins us now from
Long live Zardos!
Let's just hit on that last piece of news, Jeff. What? There's some sense that the House knew about this report. Tell me about what they knew.
Right. So the New York Times, Allie, is reporting that that Adam Schiff, the House Intelligence Chairman, got advance notice that the whistleblower had a complaint to make. The New York Times reports that the whistleblower tried to elevate this complaint through the agency where he or she works. The Times reports the name of that agency.
Probably the most extraordinary historic words spoken in our nation's history.
And so at that
I can
point,
only
the whistleblower then approached the House
think of
Committee
Abraham
to get some
Lincoln
guidance about how to
and his
convey
fourscore when
the nature of
Abraham
the
Lincoln
complaint.
was trying to save the
At no time,
Union.
according to the committee, did Mr. Schiff learn about the substance
Confederates
of
had
the
fired
complaint.
on
So here is a
Fort
statement
Sumter.
from Patrick Boland,
Civil
the
War was
spokesperson
imminent.
for
This
Adam
is
Schiff,
a
spokesperson for the
declaration
committee,
of Civil
as
War.
conveyed to Hill producer Alex Moe. So he says this: the whistleblower contacted the committee
Our
for
president
guidance on how
has
to
no
report possible wrongdoing within the jurisdiction
intent
of the intelligence
to
community.
keep this
At no
nation
point did the committee review
united.
or
He wants
receive
it
the
divided.
complaint
And
in
so does
advance.
Putin.
He continues. The committee did not receive the complaint until the night before the acting director
President
of
Donald
National
Trump
Intelligence's
is working
opening
for
hearing
Putin.
before the committee.
There's no
More
doubt.
than 3 weeks after the legal deadline by which the committee should have received the complaint. So in that press conference we just saw, where the question was conveyed to President Trump that Adam Schiff might have had advance notice of what the complaint was about, the question was completely misrepresented, and it teed President Trump up to make the claim that Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, had some hand in writing it, which is completely, patently false, according to the reporting and according to the statement from the committee, Allie. So hopefully that clears some of that up.
All right, as this fight plays out, the State Department has gone to, the Inspector General is on Capitol Hill at this hour to brief lawmakers about what has been described as an urgent matter related to the State Department and Ukraine. What do we know about what is going on? Why is the State Department Inspector General on Capitol Hill talking to lawmakers?
Well, a couple of things. I can tell you that the State Department IG, Steve Olenek, is here. We can't have cameras over there in the secure area, otherwise I would be over there talking to you. We don't know precisely what the substance of this urgent matter is. We know that it came directly after Secretary of State Mike Pompeo pushed back on House Democrats' demands to depose those 5 current and former State Department officials as part of its ongoing impeachment inquiry. There is some outside reporting that this might have something to do with retaliation within the State Department aimed at career officials who are trying to cooperate with House Democrats. That has not yet been confirmed by NBC, but other reputable news organizations are reporting that. What we do know is that this has something to do with a document that was provided to the IG's office by the legal advisor of the State Department. So that suggests to me a couple of things. One, there's a paper trail that could be material in this ongoing investigation. And two, the timing matters here as well, because the staffers for these relevant committees are being updated about this in advance of the depositions that they plan to take. So right now we know that the relevant committees will hear from 2 of the 5 current and former State Department officials. Tomorrow, they'll hear from Kurt Volker. He's the former envoy to the Ukraine.